Hey guys, welcome back to Land Investing Online. Come unlock your potential freedom through land investing. Here at Land Investing Online, we teach students how to profitably buy and sell vacant land. This is the simplest, least competitive, and most profitable sector of real estate. For more information, visit landinvestingonline.com. We even have a free Discord with tons of successful investors, including Ron and myself. Come learn from the best. Please subscribe and like this video, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever you're listening from. It seriously means the world to Ron and I, and it drives our business forward. I'm Daniel Apke, joined again by my brother and business partner, Ron Apke. Welcome back, Ron.
Hey, Dan, good to be here.
So, before we get into today's topic, let's go over a question from one of our members. Question is, I just joined the course and I really want a partner because I'm really busy. How can I find a partner?
Networking on Discord. We say this a lot. Networking on Discord, networking in general is extremely valuable. It's something I've really focused on in my business life in the last 24 months, and it's really helped grow things. And this is beyond just looking for a partner. I personally, Dan, if you're willing to do this, I would do some education yourself, maybe send a mailer yourself. Keep networking with people. You do not want to rush this decision. We had an entire podcast on this for a reason. Go back and listen to that podcast if you haven't. But it's a really, really important decision. Like, this is a 50-50 partnership, I would assume, if you're trying to get a partner. If you have funds or something, maybe you're trying to partner and kind of provide the funds and they do the work. But it's something you need to take time to do, and you do not want to rush this at all.
And I had someone that I did on a consultation call yesterday, and he asked how he can kind of get involved. He was at the same position, so it's I told him first join the Discord and network, but like Ron said, you don't want to rush this. Main reasons because you don't really know who to trust, who's going to work hard, or what's going on. So if you're busy, you want to make some money, you're going to need to free up some time to learn the business model personally, unless you trust someone, and you know someone, or maybe you have we had a father son just join the coaching
Yep.
program actually. So like if that's the situation and the dad's got the money and the son's going to do a lot of the work, whatever. I don't think that's how their situation is, but if that's the case, that's great. You can trust them. You can put up the money and do as you please. But in terms of just handing someone money and telling them to run with it without knowing them, that's big red flag. You got to be very, very careful with this decision. So network in the Discord community, maybe see who for 3 months or something, see who's been really consistent on Discord, and then you know those people are working hard because it's easy for someone to come in, start networking one day and be very consistent for a week, but like check 3 4 5 months later, see if that same person's consistent and consistently sending mail. Look for that consistency. We preach that all the time. Let's get into today's topic: why direct mail works versus other alternatives. So why are direct mail works versus the other alternatives that people are doing to acquire properties, houses, land, whatever we're talking about. This really applies to all acquisitions in the real estate state world. But let's get started by what is direct mail. Ron, do you want to go into our business model and how direct mail kind of flows from that?
Yeah, so direct mail is 95% of our acquisitions. It's by direct mail. Um, and how we do this, we send mail to vacant landowners all over the country. We usually pick a county or pick a region of a state that we kind of target, or zip codes. And then we send a bunch of mail. We send about 30,000 a month. And all these are targeted with prices. So we're literally making an offer on their land. So let's say you own 5 acres in, I don't know, some random county in North Carolina. You get a letter from me. I'm offering you $18,000 cash to close within 2 to 3 weeks. I actually put a purchase agreement in there. So it's a legal contract in there that we put, where if they sign and return it, we're going to get started on a due diligence process. And within 2 to 3 weeks, you can have your money. So that is basically a quick synopsis, Stan, of what we do in terms of direct mail in our business.
So you briefly touched on that then, and how each offer that's what kind of differentiates us chefs. People that are watching this maybe have a wholesaling background or know what wholesaling is. Everyone knows what wholesaling is. It's very big. They wholesalers send direct mail a lot of times, but they're generic letters. And that's what is that what you call them? Generic, Ron?
Neutral, I typically say.
Neutral letters, so they don't have offers on them. That's what separates this business model. We have offers on every price. We're pricing extremely targeted, so we know we're targeting landowners with specific acreage and they have a price on there. That's why this business or this model works so well. In terms of neutral letters, we don't have much experience. I know they do work, and I know people in wholesaling who say they do work, but we'll get into those details of why we. I don't want to say advise against it because if you do have the, we'll get into it. But if you do have the time and stuff, there are some advantages. But some other, let's get into some other methods then. So you have direct mail. That's what we talked about. You have direct mail, you have targeted letters, and then you have neutral letters. So that's kind of two right there. Cold calling's been a hot topic lately in our community because it's a way to save money. We'll get into each of these specifically after this. So we have cold calling, texting. I know people that do traditional ads like on benches. You see them on the bus benches, ads, posters, things like that across cities. And then you have like Facebook and Google targeted message or mail as well, or sorry, targeted ads as well on Facebook and Google and sources like that. So those are kind of, so it's more like e-commerce type of advertisement in that way. So those are the ones, the main ones that I see. There's obviously other methods to advertise, um, but the main thing that I see is our targeted letters work just simply because there's an actual offer on it. That's the main thing. We know what property is theirs. We're pricing their property. It has all of their information on it, and it's just as targeted as you can get. So, and it's relatively cheap for how direct you can make it. I know it's what 60 cents or so to send a mail with the
Mhm.
stamp and everything on it. But think about if you're targeting on Facebook for landowners, right? You might be getting 20 cents a click or whatever. It might be cheaper than 60 cents. But how many of those people that you're targeting actually own land? You know, that's you can't target landowners. How are you going to target landowners on Facebook? It's very difficult to do. When we're sending our mail, we know every single person from the county records that we're sending it to owns land. And maybe there's 1% of them that have sold it by the time, we pulled the
Mhm.
records or whatever. But for the most part, every single person owns the land. So it is very, very targeted. Do you have anything to add on that in terms of online advertisement like Facebook or Google run?
Not a ton. It's hard. It's hard to, and you know more about it than I do. I wanted to clarify one thing, Dan. When we talk about direct mail, we're not printing stuff ourselves. With the program, you guys get a service. Like we're paying 60 cents for an envelope, for a stamp, and for 2 pages, and that's what every member gets as well. So don't think that you need to get a nice printer and all of that. But in terms of what, I just wanted to clarify that.
Good point.
But in terms of the online advertisements, like I said, you have more experience in that, Dan. I have a hard time picturing how to really target landowners, especially with how private landowners typically are. It's not like they have or put into some database that they're landowners. Like it's the county that knows they're landowners.
Yeah, and and
But
and the
that's all
way
I
I
got to say
see
about
it,
that.
yeah, the way I see it, you could target Facebook would be very, very difficult because just the way I know how I do Facebook advertisements and I have a background of them. It would be extremely difficult. Google, you could target like okay, anywhere within 30 miles outside Seattle, Washington, that searches keywords and you could put like how to sell my land or a keyword like sell my land or whatever that is. So you could target like that. I don't know how effective that would be. In Google, you're not going to pay 20 cents a click on those. You're going to pay a lot more than 20 cents a click. But maybe that is a way. And then you could retarget them on Facebook and stuff like that. So I'm sure there is a way to do it. I haven't dove into that just because how effective this direct mail is working in today's market. Just because how targeted it is. But let's go into a big one. Everyone's been waiting for this one: cold calling. It's
Mhm.
free. Everyone wants it. They don't need to send 60 cents. It's free. I can get on the phone and make a bunch of calls. And it's a really interesting one. And if someone is willing to cold call successfully and make the business work this way, man, they're going to be successful land investors when they start sending direct mail. That is a grinder right there. If I've seen one, if they
Mhm.
make cold calling work, you're just wait till you start sending direct mail and how much easier your life gets. Let's talk about cold calling, Ron. Advantages, disadvantages. Go into that.
Yeah, I think advantages. You'll probably get some people on the phone that maybe don't open your mail. I think that's a big one. I think you can have that relationship off the bat. I think that's a good advantage to it. The price of it is really the only price of it is your time or whoever. If you're paying someone, you might be paying someone, but that's really the only. I think those are the big advantages. Like you can get some really good touch points there, relationship based. Um, Disadvantage wise, it's time. Like it's time and it's more difficult. It's similar to sending neutral letters. Even if you have someone making the calls for you and getting potential deals, like you still need to review the deals, or someone you need to train someone to review deals. Maybe I bet for all the if you get 10 people interested in selling on the phone, maybe one deal you can make happen at a price that makes sense. I think that's a huge thing with neutral letters and with cold calling that you have to deal with. That takes a ton of time.
And I'm thinking about it in the back of my head. I've never really thought out cold calling too much. I know I've talked to some students about it who want to save money and whatnot, but I think I would do it because you're gonna take the most time. You all right? So you call someone in, let's say, Arizona, and that person owns 5 acres, and you have it pulled up on your map, right? You call them, they say they're interested in selling, and then where's the conversation go from there? They're like, how much? Everyone's interested in selling. It's just the price, right? So then you offer them. You got to look at the property, figure out an offer price, and all that. So if I were cold calling, I would pick a county. I would do exactly what we do in our course. I would pick a county. I would price everything. I wouldn't pull data though. I would price the county though somehow. I don't know how I do that exactly, but I'd have the county price from, you know, maybe it's 1 to 3 acres, 3 to 8 acres, or 3 to 10 acres, 10 to 50 acres price is this. And I'd have a price per acre on everything. So then when I'm talking to them on the phone and I get interest, I would have almost a map and I'd just go, okay, their properties in this region, boom, connect the dots. It's 4 acres, go down to how much 4 acres is worth in 32205 zip code or wherever you price that, and then you'd be like, oh, you're there on the phone, they're interested in selling, you have that price. Be like, oh yeah, in that area we're willing to offer you $12,000 for your 4 acres. So you're not wasting time looking at the property and all that crap. Maybe that would work. Actually, I think it would work. It's just whether you have the time to cold call or whatnot. That's how I would personally do it.
That's interesting, Dan, and I like that mindset with it, where it's not looking at an individual deal. Like you want to gauge that they're interested in selling under market value. Obviously, you're not going to sell. Ask them like, "Are you interested in selling for what it less than what it's worth?" But having like that pricing laid out, that's a very interesting approach. If you're listening to this and you are interested in cold calling to save money, you could learn the price from the course and never send a mailer, and then do it like Daniel just said. Um, Very interesting, Dan. I like that a lot. I haven't. Did you just think about that on the fly there?
Yeah, when you were talking a minute ago, I thought of that. But also, the reason why a course is still very valuable because pricing's one part, or sending mail is one part out of the 10 steps in this process. 10 steps I
Yep.
made up. I've never actually counted, but you have pooling the county, getting all the county. So selecting a county, for instance, if you're cold calling, you want to come up with the best county to cold call. Selecting a county, and that's going to be the same whether you're sending mail or cold calling. You're targeting those counties. So you have to target the county, select a county, pull the data. Typically, you wouldn't pull it in this. Well, you'd still have to pull the data, I guess, from this too, wouldn't you? Maybe, and then you could pull the
Yeah. I
data,
mean,
then
you're
you
gonna
could
need to
skip
know the
trace.
owners. Yeah, exactly.
I would pull the
That's
data and
probably the
skip
best.
trace 5,000 properties and then have a virtual assistant calling them for $3 an hour, gauging interest and having a price right there on it. That's how I would do
Yeah.
it. But then you have to buy the property, send it to title, market the property, sell the property, get funding for the property, whatever it is. There's so many steps, and that's one of 10. So 10% of it's gone, and you won't need to watch the sending a mail module out of the 20, but the other 20 that
Yep.
you're going to have to watch. So there's just so much more that goes into it than that. But mail is the most expensive part. If you can't send 3 to 5,000 mailers a month to start out, cold call for 2 straight months, stick with it. I'm here to help you if you join the course and whatnot. I want to learn the cold calling business a little bit to see how it goes. I don't think you're going to be able to save money because you still have to pay someone to call and it's going to be less efficient, but I think you can make it work if you're willing to grind. Um,
Yep.
Last thing I want to talk about is texting. It's another interesting one, and people talk about it. It's usually higher level people. It's not usually the people coming in. People talk about it though, with SMS marketing type of stuff, and you have to be careful. SMS is new in Congress and the Senate and everything, and go back and forth on the marketing rules and privacy and all that. So depending on where you are, you have to be careful, and they have to opt in and out and have a message like that. There's different rules in every area, so you do have to be careful with SMS. Um, but I don't know. I don't know much about. I have launched some SMS campaigns. I don't know much about it in terms of like if you send them an actual offer on a text or if you're sending them to see if they're interested. There's so many different ways to go about texting.
Yeah, you got to be really, really careful legally with this. I'm guessing it would be pretty illegal as far as just doing that. Like, if you think about the random text messages you get, like, imagine how many we would get with the properties we own, Dan, if it's just legal to make offers like that. I would imagine it would be a ton because it's cheap. It's cheaper than mail. So I would assume people are doing that. I would be very hesitant to do that for legalities. Obviously, I would look into it. I think if I thought it was a efficient way to do it, but I don't know all the laws around it. But like Dan said, be very careful legally with it. Don't just do it for maybe you get a deal or two and then you get sued or something. Like it's not worth it in the end game. But make sure you know the local laws and the federal laws. I'm not 100% certain with them, but I know it's a lot, and I've looked into it recently for other things, and I've read, and if they don't opt in, like it is, I'm pretty sure it's illegal, Dan.
Yeah, I kind of had the same thing that I was thinking as well. It's more of a legality thing than an efficiency thing. It would probably work. Um,
I would imagine.
yeah, I would imagine it would work in some way. A lot of our clients are older and don't text. That's where the kind of not gray or that's where the inefficiencies would be, I think, because a lot of people are retired and sick of paying taxes or whatever it is, or just done with it, or just can't go to it because they're disabled now or in a wheelchair and things like that. We buy from all the time. Probably 50%, maybe. I don't know.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's where the inefficiencies would go. But I do think cold callings could be an effective way if you guys are really looking to save money. Keep in mind the time you're going to be spending doing that is extremely inefficient, though. You're going to be spending a lot of time for one county call. You're going to have a data of 2,000 people. Start calling those 2,000. It's going to be a grind, but maybe you can make it work. I think personally, the direct mail with the pricing is by far the most efficient way right now in today's market. That may change with different laws and regulations and things in the future. Who knows? Um, but yeah, that's the only thing with cold calling. If you do hire out, like Ground was saying, you're gonna have to manage a team and you're gonna have to manage people. So that's not easy either, and that's gonna take time. Even if you're not making the calls, you're managing the calls. You're looking. It's gonna be very timely. But yeah, that's really all I have. What else did you have to talk about, Ron?
Yeah, I think just kind of talking about the pros of direct mail, Dan. I don't think we've really, you've talked a little bit about it, but just real quick, like the people you can touch with direct mail, like the volume of people. Imagine how long it would take you to touch 30,000 people via a phone call.
Oh my,
It would take years, I would imagine, like unless you have a team of 10. That 30,000 is that's that's 1,000 a day, right? No, it's not 1,000 a day. That's 100 a day.
100.
100 a day, like maybe if you do that every single day for a year, you'll touch 30,000 in a year. And then how many of those are going to answer a phone?
That's a lot of calls every
It's
day to
so
be
much.
consistent with.
Exactly. And we have the pricing on there. So, yeah, we get some angry callers and stuff like that. But I think 80% of the people who get the offer and like this is ridiculous, don't ever call us. Just throw the letter out, which is fine. But you can touch so many people with direct mail. Yes, it costs a little bit of money. I was going through our numbers the other day, Dan, and in the last 12 months, so we spend whatever 60 cents per mailer. We're making $5 per mailer. So we're spending 60 cents on the mailer and we're 10xing our money pretty much on our mailer. So if we sent $200,000 200,000 mailers, we that's $1 million. Um, so that's what we're making per mailer, and those are just the real numbers on it, which is crazy because I did just look at this yesterday. Those aren't our real numbers, but for that's just an example. People think it's so expensive up front, but they don't look at the returns that you'll get.
Right, exactly. And I'm sitting here on my calculator doing the math of actually hiring like a virtual assistant to make those calls. And I haven't gotten all the way through it, so I don't have numbers for you yet. But yeah, if you hired it out, you could make it decently cost effective, I think. But it's just the acquisition rate, everything goes down. You're gonna have a virtual assistant on the phone versus you versus your targeted price mailer that's professional and they're going. But yeah, that's really all I have, Ron.
Yep. No, I think that was really good. We're gonna stick by our direct mail, like it's what we believe in. We're open to other things. I thought Daniel, if you are doing cold calling, I think what Daniel said can be very valuable. Do not just go into cold calling and say, "I'm just gonna call a bunch of people." If you do not have a plan, you are gonna waste so much time evaluating deals that suck. Like it's just a fact. Like I have people reach out to me all the time, and they're saying I can get this for 10,000. Well, I say it's only worth 6,000. Like, you need to get it for 1,000. And that's just the reality of it. Like Dan said, pricing, doing that way, have a plan when you go into something like that. Don't just go in and start dialing people's numbers.
Yeah, yeah, definitely have a plan with anything you do, business, life related. Plans are good, but that's all, guys. Thank you for joining. To get started and to unlock your potential freedom, visit landinvestingonline.com. Join our free Discord where Ron and I are involved in other very successful entrepreneurs and investors. Guys, please like and subscribe our YouTube channel, Apple Podcasts, whatever you guys are listening on. If you got any value, it means the world to Ron and I, and it really drives this business forward. Other than that, guys, we'll see you next episode, and thank you for joining.
Thanks, guys.